Well, this is test number 1 of the brand new audio setup with the weatherproof housing on the GoPro, and the microphone now has a fur instead of a slippery earthen corner. Now has a fur instead of the foam that I had filled my helmet with. So what I'm looking for out of that is that I will be able to record clear, crisp audio and highly visible video in all weather, and no longer muffle myself. I mean, the audio thing's gone back and forth, as some of you may know. If you've been following me for some time, you'll know that I started out with really poor audio. Going back to my original videos, I was recording directly off the GoPro with no housing or no protection and no microphone, certainly. So that lasted me a while. It worked, if I remember correctly, for speeds under about 40, really, not even 45, but below a certain speed. The resonation right through my helmet into the GoPro picked up audio reasonably well. Not great, but reasonably well, and it got a little muffled, but it wasn't bad, and you could make out what I was saying very clearly. And then I got a microphone, but the microphone wasn't working because the adapter piece that I had was the right piece from the wrong company. And essentially the piece from the wrong company literally doesn't work. It is only functional for one circumstance, but the resistance in the line or some attribute of the thing kept it from actually serving its purpose. So although it's billed as a GoPro adapter for a microphone, you know, the mini USB to 3.5 millimeter round, it didn't do a damn thing. So I was only out like $3 plus maybe like $1 extra shipping or something. So it was a really cheap part, but it was a waste of a purchase of a cheap part because it didn't actually do anything. So the next thing to do was, after experimenting with that over and over again, I played with it. I was very unsatisfied, and then eventually realized that it wasn't just a setup thing, and there was no settings on the GoPro that were supposed to make it work. It was just supposed to work. And once I came to the conclusion that it was a faulty part, I bought the same part from a different vendor, the recommended vendor by Motonosity, and thanks Motonosity for being willing and able to post all the details of how you got your audio setup working. But once I did that and plugged it all in, lo and behold, it immediately worked. So that's a hard lesson for me about getting not just the general details, but the very specific details correct, and paying attention to the video. When he says you have to use this exact one from this exact distributor or it's not going to work, he's correct. So that's been rectified, but then I was still using my non-weatherproof housing because the weatherproof one is of course sealed, so you can't actually get a microphone cord into it. And I was using the little black one so that I could use my audio setup during the summer, knowing full well that at some point I was going to want to grind a hole in my weatherproof housing just big enough to pass the USB in and get my audio setup working with that. So that's actually on there right now. That is what you are viewing this video through. And you know, it may get a drip on the lens and therefore get screwed up just by virtue of having, you know, dots distorting the field of vision. But still, the whole purpose of this video is just to demonstrate an audio test, and I have not done a vlog in who knows how long. So rather than trying to come back big and go high concept with talking about life and this is my grand plan for something or other, I just figured I'd put something simple on video, me talking and fill in the time So, I mean, at this point, the audio test is certainly over. I'll go ahead and say, I'm pretty happy right now. I've got things going well. You know, if this is working, then I will not feel bad about recording in the rain and recording all year round, because last year I certainly couldn't. I mean, I did to an extent, but I want to like really show that I'm kind of an all-year writer. This is my daily, and I am happy to continue to ride all year round as long as I'm not in, you know, hail or snow, and as long as there's no ice on the roads and not actively in a downpour. I mean, really, it has to be pretty severe conditions for me to say outright that I'm just not going to ride. Otherwise, I've got the gear, I wear it all the time, and I'm happy to be on the road. This is definitely for me. So the only thing I'm not wearing right now is I got a little lazy, and I figured if I'm going to record, I'm going to leave it off because you wouldn't be able to hear me so well. I've got a mask, and the mask bridges the gap between my jacket and my helmet so that I'm literally just, you know, swathed in fabric from head to toe. And when I was younger, I could certainly kind of go out in all weather and it didn't bother me to be cold, and as I've gotten a little older, I kind of do care. Not over much, but still, objectively, it's just not good for you to have too much cold exposure, especially on your neck, especially on my neck, which is particularly vulnerable to throat issues. I've had sore throats, and plenty of colds have developed mostly off of me being exposed from the neck up. So I'm willing to say that I could be more hardcore. I could certainly be, you know, more cavalier about it. But why? What would be the benefit? I'm not convinced that it would be a good idea, so why not take care of myself in those little regards? So I've got a mask. I would normally be wearing it. It's not actually super cold out or anything, but it's just chilly enough and wet enough that normally I might want to actually cover that last little bit up, but I didn't feel like it this time. And I'm not getting wet on my neck so much. It's just a little gap. Anyway, so I have no idea how my camera angle's playing out. I think I've got it set well. This is all. I mean, I'm probably gonna trim a bunch of this stuff out anyway, because just seriously, I can blather on all damn day. I could ride for 8 hours and talk the whole time. But I'll tell you this: after the first 2 hours, all I would be talking about is how much my ass hurts. So what's been fun lately? I would say recent stuff I've done with the crew from TNC has been really awesome. So let's give some shout outs about that. I was fortunate to pick a week that I was going to go and show up, and met people just in time to head out again and go to Applebee's for one of our members' daughter's 15th birthday. And that was really nice. We you know, got a crew together and went and celebrated, and I think it's just awesome that she and her sister both are into bikes, and she already knows exactly what kind she wants to get when she gets when she turns 16, and she can. I don't actually, you know, hey, comment back to me. I don't know if you can have a motorcycle at 16. I'm way older than that, and that didn't occur to me to even question when I was getting my endorsement. So in the state of Oregon specifically, or wherever you are motorcycle endorsements 16 and over like licenses are, or are they actually different? Anyway, so she already knows what she wants. Her sister's into bikes too. Their dad has been raising them right as far as I'm concerned. Ooh, taking it nice and easy because of the weather. But that was good. And then that same night, because I was desperately in need of it, I had already received my replacement brake pads for my front brake, and was the kind recipient of some assistance from Siren and Justin. I don't know if they would want any more than that on the internet. about who they are, but several of the people from TNC were very kind about letting me come and use their tools and get their help popping out my brake pads and replacing them. So here's the thing that's really weird to me. I've only been riding, as you can see, just over 5,000 miles, and my front brake pads were so worn down that the one side was completely gone and the other one had like a millimeter of thickness left to it. So I don't think I overbrake. I certainly don't think that I apparently use a lot more front brake than rear brake. I kind of know that. I do a lot more front braking because I'll use it when I'm just braking gently. But I was surprised to find out that was completely gone. So the first thing I did was, when I thought that something was wrong with my brakes, I wasn't totally sure and I didn't know how to get the parts off yet. And so I went to the dealership and had them figure out for me, is this just my brake pads or is there something else going on? And they said, yeah, it's your brake pads. They are worn down to nothing. And they said I had a groove in the rotor. So they were recommending replacement of not only the pads, but the entire rotor and an hour of their labor. So that would have been like nearly $300. And I said, no. That's nice. I'm gonna not be paying you for that today. And I went and bought brake pads. I looked at the rotor myself. It is barely worn at all. A little bit of scraping was occurring on the raw brake housing, the sheet, the little plate that it sits on. And you know what? It's got some slight wear and tear. It is not enough to be worth replacing it. So I'm sorry, but I have to say no. I'm not going with the expensive replacement this time. So I turned them down for that. Bought sintered metal brake pads from EBC myself, and then as opposed to $40 pads and a rotor for $150 and $110 for the labor, so like $300, I bought off of Amazon for $30. Did the work myself. Well, Justin actually did most of it. I was there, I watched, I helped, but he got his hands dirty because he likes to. But end result, something that could have cost me $300 was cost me $30. It was a tenth the price. And admittedly did not replace the brake rotor, but I don't think it needs to be yet, and I don't know how I feel about the fact that they were suggesting it off of such slight wear and tear, because if that's their, like, hey, you don't know any better and we're gonna charge you for this part, I really don't appreciate that. That's purely unnecessary. You don't win my business by inventing costs to have to deal with. Now, they may legitimately have felt that it was actually in need of repair, but it's, for a piece of metal something like 5 millimeters wide, it had a barely perceptible line grooved into it from where it had scraped. So I just don't think that it suffered enough to be worth replacing yet. So I'm willing to take the risk. Having done the work myself, I'm not in need of any other help as far as I know for some time. So the new brakes being sintered metal, if you don't know what that means, basically it is a brake pad that has extra filaments of metal kind of merged into the substance of it. And what that does is it melts a little bit on contact and then re-solidifies and actually prolongs the life of the brake pad significantly. So my existing brake set should now last me, I'm not going to make it, but I'm going to go up here anyway. And I'll just wait, because it'll blink. But what that nets me is hopefully something more like 10,000 miles before my next brake pad replacement instead of 5, because 5,000 before that died was kind of crazy and sketchy. It makes me wonder whether Kawasaki put a pretty poor stock brake pad on there. Also, the brake responsiveness is better. I realize this just doesn't have a blink, does it? Oh well. I probably could have gone out to the next light and then circled back to here, because there is a little road that connects through, but whatever. Oh, this, by the way, functions as a test of how I sound when I open my visor, and you just listen to me with it open, because there will certainly come a time when I'm going to do that when the warm summer comes back around. But yeah, I thought I would get a little vlog set up and maybe have some time to edit it soon and put this crap online. I am on the thing. I'm on the thing, and you didn't let me go. I fucking hate the sensors. Sometimes they work, sometimes they catch me, sometimes they don't, but apparently since they didn't, we're stuck here for another cycle. That one couldn't tell I was there, so it is illegal in Oregon now for me to wait one full cycle through the light and then just run it, but it's rainy and cars are coming downhill and it's something of a blind corner, so I am opting not to do that. I felt like it would be safer for me and safer for everyone if I wait and then let the car take the heat. Sensor trips for the car, everybody wins. Anyway, I'm going to stop and get myself some stuff before I head to work. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a lovely day. Bye-bye.